Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and today we're going to talk about all of the new releases in May that have caught my attention. And I will tell you there are some very fantastic, amazing choices upcoming in the month of May. We are starting off with the one that has the most interest from me, unsurprising. If you know me, that is A Founding Mother by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoe. It is a novel of Abigail Adams. It releases on the 5th of May this year, and I'm going to need to read this one. So, first of all, I love the cover, and it is 464 pages. I will read you with the description. In the heart of revolutionary Boston, Abigail Adams raises her children amid riots, blockades, and outbreak of war, while her husband, John Adams, rises from country lawyer to nation builder. Often away for years at a time, Abigail builds her own independence, managing their farm, making lucrative investments, amassing savings, battling plague and loss, and defending their home. Unafraid to speak her mind, she famously offers fearless political counsel, urging John to remember the ladies in the new government. Through it all, she becomes his most trusted confidant and indispensable ally. When peace is secured, Abigail steps onto the world stage, exchanging ideas with Thomas Jefferson in the French countryside, navigating court life as the wife of the minister to Great Britain, and presiding over the parlor politics of the early American Republic in New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. Even after her husband's presidential administration, she continues battling political foes and working behind the scenes to advance her family, secure independence for the women in her life, and ensure a better life for the next generation of Americans. If you know me, you know that Abigail Adams is one of my all-time favorite persons from history, and I cannot wait to dive into this book. So, yeah, I'm very interested. Okay, up next would be The Teacher by Tim Sullivan. This is a D.S. George Cross mystery. And I will put what number it is in the series right here. As you know, I'm actively reading this series, so I am not going to read much of the description, but I will read the first line. He's a victim, but is he innocent? Detective Sergeant George Cross has always been a good student, attentive, methodical, and careful to double-check his work. So when an elderly schoolteacher is found dead at home in southwestern England, Cross knows the math isn't adding up. The angle of the man's neck suggests he fell down the stairs. But the stab wound on his body changes the equation. That's enough for me. English police procedural, absolutely fantastic. It too releases on the 5th. And it is 400 pages. Okay, up next is The Library After Dark by Andy Poligo, and it releases the 5th of May. It is 368 pages. And I will read you the description. Not all fairy tales were meant for children. Arya Stokes is finally feeling settled. She lives in a tiny New York apartment, works as a bookseller at a local shop, and has even taken a leap of faith and love by indulging her attraction to bookstore regular Jasper. And he seems to already know her so well. As a Valentine's Day surprise, Jasper gets the two of them tickets to an exclusive after-dark tour of the Daedalus Library, the grandiose establishment famed for its immersive, genre-based reading rooms and, more notoriously, its rumored hauntings. While Arya normally loves all things ghastly, this place holds far more dark secrets than she preferred Jasper to know. Like that the last time she was here, she left a body behind. When the automatic door entry malfunctions and Arya, Jasper, and the 5 other people in their tour group become trapped in the library, they are forced to venture through the storied rooms and hidden passages of the Daedalus in search of escape. and Arya quite literally has nowhere to hide from the shadows of her past. Then the group learns there's a murderer in their midst. Now she tries to break out of the library's intricate reading rooms. Arya has to decide who she can trust and what secrets are best kept buried if she wants to make it out alive. Okay, that definitely sounds intriguing. Up next is No Home No Matter Where by Nancy Nagel. This too releases the 5th of May, and it is 336 pages, and the cover of this book is beautiful. Nina is at her wit's end with her teenage daughter Kendra. Still dealing with her own wounds of divorce, Nina hopes a change of scenery will help. She and Kendra head to the serene coastal town of Welks Island to spend a restorative summer with Nina's mother, Rosemary, bringing 3 generations under one roof for the first time in years. Amid the island's charms, old wounds begin to heal, and as new friendships bloom, especially with the steady and enigmatic Fisher, light begins to break through the cracks of Nina's tightly controlled life. Kendra's reckless behavior continues, but Fisher's intervention during a critical moment for Kendra sparks a sense of hope in Nina that she thought was lost. Still, change is never easy. As the women navigate the tides of forgiveness, growing up, and letting go, healing begins and new love brings surprises. While Welks Island may not hold all the answers, it has a way of reminding people that moving forward doesn't follow a set path. It requires the bravery to start anew. I've read her books before, and they are quite enjoyable and 100% clean. Up next is one of the single most intriguing books of the year for me. Releases the 5th of May. That is The Inklings Detective Society by John R. Kelly. It's 352 pages. There's an adorable songbird building a nest in a very precarious spot next to me, so I'll read you the description. In the shadowy streets of 1936 Oxford, England, members of a secret society keep turning up dead. When J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and their fellow literary masterminds, known as the Inklings, are called upon to catch a killer, they trade their pens for magnifying glasses. With time running out, they get a helping hand from mystery writers Agatha Christie and Dorothy Sayers to unravel a sinister web of secrets. Packed with historical details, intrigue, and a thrilling whodunit, this novel is a masterful blend of high-stakes drama. Dive into a world where creators of fantasy and mystery confront a real-life menace in a race against the clock. Will dark forces prevail, or will those literary giants crack the case before the murderer strikes again? I need to know. I need to know. Okay, next up would be Next up is A Bookshop Summer by Stephanie Butland. This is a May 7th release, and it's 352 pages, and I love this cover. I love this cover. When the Lost for Words bookshop in York hosts an event for a new reading project, 4 strangers' lives will change in ways they never could have expected. Trixie is hosting the event. She loves her job at Lost for Words, and she's feeling grounded and calm, until a phone call from her ex throws everything off course. Cherry only goes to the event because she needs to get out. Caring for her grandmother without any help is exhausting and lonely. Maybe things will be different if her long-lost sister finally comes home. Rihanna and Guy really hit it off at the bookshop. It feels like the start of something special. And Guy is fantastic with Rihanna's baby. But Rihanna is keeping quite a big secret. I'm intrigued. Oh, this one releases May 8th. This is A French Fling for the Golden Gals by Judy Lee. And it is 352 pages. And most of her books are available on Kindle Unlimited. Her long-for retirement is finally here, and she's ready to enjoy it with partner Russell. Ready, that is, until she gets home early to find Russell in flagrante delicto with a female friend. With her best laid plans in tatters, Max has a choice to make: mope at home or spread her wings. When a chance comes to bask in the French sun for a glorious month, there's only one thing for it. Suitcases packed, Max heads off to the Brittany town of Plouvignan-sur-Mer. I butchered that. Home of tempting boulangeries, breathtaking beaches, not to mention some rather fine-looking men of the perfect vintage. As the irresistible French joie de vivre takes over and new friends welcome her, Max realizes that perhaps it's not too late for a whole new life. A new life full of adventure and maybe some romance is just one brave decision away. Interested. Okay, this is a May 9th release. It is a short 306 pages. This is The Fourth Queen by Nicola Cornick. I have not yet read anything by her, but I have several books of her that are either on my TBR or maybe one or two I've purchased, so I'll read you the description. 2 timelines. One queen, a secret history that refuses to stay buried. Now, when Jenna arrives at Winter Hill House, she's instantly transported back to the priory that stood there before, the life she lived before, and the secret she kept in her past for the fourth queen of a despotic king. 1539. King Henry VIII is intent on destroying the Catholic Church, and with the dissolution of the monastery's beautiful young prioress, Maris is about to lose everything. She knows she has to do whatever it takes to keep her sister safe, even agreeing to marry the wealthy man who has been gifted the priory land. But when she marries him, she also finds herself catapulted into the court of the king, and her mastery of the German language makes her an ideal companion for his new king, new queen, Anne of Cleves. It's destined to be a short marriage, but after the divorce, when Anna finds herself in trouble, it will be Maris she turns to. Will Maris risk her life to help the fourth queen? Because defying the king is the highest treason, and keeping the secret will put everything Maris has fought to keep safe in the gravest danger. It sounds interesting. It sounds weird at the same time, so we shall see. Up next, releasing the 12th of May, is The Mediator by Robert Bailey. He writes legal thrillers, and I have loved everything I've read by him. And there is no page count on this. If I get it, I will put it right here. It is the first book in the Max Ringo series. I'll read you the description. Max Ringo was once a courtroom star at an elite law firm. Then a car accident left her addicted to painkillers, and her life dissolved into shambles. Now, fresh out of rehab and making a comeback as a mediator, she gets her shot at redemption when she's appointed to handle a high-stakes divorce. But as Max begins negotiations between the two notorious power players, the trap is already sprung. The husband kidnaps her teenage son, Nathan, and gives her a chilling ultimatum: settle the case on his terms, or the boy dies. Over 3 relentless days, Max must resolve a cutthroat legal battle while pursuing a covert mission to rescue Nathan. She'll risk everything: her career, her freedom, her life, to beat a ruthless adversary at his own game. Even when a shadowy syndicate enters the fray and bodies start to drop, only one thing matters: she must bring home her son, whatever the cost. I will be reading that. Okay. Also releasing the 12th of May is The Last Page by Katie Holt, and this is 320 pages. And it is a contemporary romance. Ellie has grown up at The Last Page, a charming local bookstore in New York City, where she now works. Her first kiss was in the women's health section. A boyfriend dumped her in comedy. The owner is like a second father to her and has begun training her to take over the store. So when he unexpectedly dies and his estranged grandson is left everything in the will, Ella is devastated. Henry doesn't know the first thing about running a bookstore. With his aging mom back in Tennessee, he plans to stay in New York just long enough to ensure things are running smoothly and then head back home. What he never could have counted on was the beautiful, funny bookseller who has the last page, who loves the last page more than any place in the world, and who sees him as the villain who's come to ruin her life. But when it becomes evident that the store is in deep financial trouble, and Henry and Ella are both at risk of losing everything, they have no choice but to put their differences aside and team up, despite the inconvenient chemistry blossoming between them. New author? It sounds intriguing, so we shall see. Okay, up next, this is Where Happy Begins by Maxine Mori. It releases the 12th of May and is 352 pages. And this cover is everything. When Emmeline Beaumont grows weary of her city career, she decides to make a huge change by taking a job as a gardener at the gorgeous, stately home Ashington House. She may have told a little white lie about having a horticultural degree, but this is her summer to embrace happiness. Welcomed with open arms by the lady of the house, Emmy is looking forward to a season of flowers and sunshine. So she is flabbergasted when Lady Penelope, desperate to save face with a nightmare neighbor, announces that her son, Edward, the lord of the manor no less, and Emmeline are engaged. Desperate to keep her job, Emmy agrees to keep up the pretense, but as the summer days draw longer and she spends more time with Edward, she realizes she may have made a big mistake. Because under the veneer of a slightly awkward country jet is hidden a devastatingly handsome and heart-achingly kind man. How is Emmy meant to walk away when the summer draws to an end? Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. Okay, next up is The Fourth Option by Jack Carr and MP Woodward. I don't know when Jack Carr picked up a co-author. I'm a little leery. This releases the 12th of May and is 432 pages. This is an ongoing series, and I will put the series number underneath the book. I will read you the description. I take this back. This is not part of the series. So scratch all that. Disillusioned by the government and institutions he's dedicated his life to serving, former Navy SEAL and CIA Ground Branch operative Chris Walker is about to end his life when he receives a call that saves it. The wife of a teammate he lost in Afghanistan has now lost her son to the opioid crisis and needs Walker's help. Thrust into a conspiracy that goes deeper than he ever imagined, Walker must go up against the system and the very Constitution he once swore an oath to support and defend in order to find justice for his friend's widow. With ambitious FBI agent Jarrett Stanton on his tail, Walker, accompanied by his loyal Belgian Malinois, using his off-the-grid VW pop-up camper filled with a hidden cache of weapons, takes the law into his own hands, exposing corruption and issuing a long-forgotten brand of lethal outlaw justice. In the tradition of the great Stranger Comes to Town westerns of the past comes a modern interpretation of the mysterious vigilante gunslinger legend from the hottest author on the thriller scene today. I will give Jack Carr the benefit of the doubt every single time. Okay. Up next, releasing the 13th of May, is Death of a Fugitive by John Pilkington. This is a Bishopsgate Ward mystery, and it is 280 pages. $15.95, Bishopsgate Ward, London. Matthew Cutler, constable for the parish of Spitalfields, prides himself on always being on the side of justice. So when a young man on the run, whose only crime was protesting about high prices and corruption, hides out in Bishopsgate, not for the first time, Cutler finds his duty as constable at odds with his gut feeling. He feels compelled to help him, not just because his daughter Jane is smitten with the plucky lad. Meanwhile, there's trouble in Bishopsgate as fake coins keep turning up, convincing enough to fool many. Tensions rise, and people are in fear of a brutal yet shadowy figure, the coiner, Thomas Gunnell, who seems to have eyes everywhere. Cutler must once again fall back on his skills of disguise and risk his own life to root out Gunnell's gang before they bring chaos to Bishopsgate Ward and danger to everything he holds dear. I think those are on Kindle Unlimited, and I know I haven't read one yet, but I know they keep crossing my timeline of interest. So I love the cover of this one. This is Spies, Lies, and Alibis by Natalie Walters. Releases May 19th and is 336 pages. And this is a low spice, thrilling spy romance. Sybil Langford has spent years hiding behind her polished professional facade as the executive assistant to a powerful real estate mogul, where she's perfectly positioned to collect intel on her boss's criminal network. But when her mission leads her into the path of Lorenzo Ramirez, a ruthless crime boss with deadly plans, she'll need every ounce of cunning and charm to stay one step ahead. Then he walks back into her life. Ben Bradley is deep undercover for the FBI, living under an alias as a financial advisor with a reputation for helping the wealthy and corrupt launder their money. His target? Lorenzo Ramirez, a dangerous crime boss with his hands in everything from smuggling to murder. But when a familiar face from his past suddenly reappears, things get complicated. The last time Sybil saw Ben, he was an annoying prankster and her first crush. The last time Ben saw Sybil, she stole a piece of his heart. Neither expected to run into each other at a high-stakes fundraising gala where crime, corruption, and undercover agendas collide. Forced to work dangerously close, neither one knows the other's true agenda. Sybil sees the boy who once broke her heart, now a man whose motives are deeply suspect. Ben sees the woman he never got over, but can't determine if she's an innocent caught in the crossfire or a willing accomplice. As they navigate a world of spies, lies, and fragile alibis, they must dismantle the walls around their hearts. The intel is classified, the trust is fragile, and their covers are one lie away from being blown wide open. Yeah, this one sounds fun. Next up is A Sprinkle of Sweet Serendipity by Rachel Linden. This is releasing the 19th of May and is 384 pages. And like all of her books, the covers are perfection. Paris-trained chocolatier and single mother Emmy Wynn gave up her own dreams 6 years ago when she returned to her Pacific Northwest coastal tourist town to run her family's struggling candy store. Now, on her 34th birthday, Emmy has only one wish: to be granted the vision that every Wynn woman is given once in her lifetime. A shimmering glimpse of her true destiny. This year, when she blows out her candles, it finally comes true. Her vision is more delectable than she ever could have imagined. Her very own artisanal chocolate shop filled with decadent truffles and caramels, and her celebrity crush, Henry Summers, down on one knee. And when Henry suddenly arrives in town for the summer, offering Emmy the opportunity of a lifetime, the future of her vision suddenly seems possible. But a rekindled connection with Jacob, her former high school best friend, turned hunky, brooding, tattooed baker, forces Emmy to grapple with the bittersweet realization that her destiny may not be what her heart truly longs for. As the culmination of her vision draws near, can Emmy find the courage to create a happiness of her own making? Yeah, I need to read that. Okay. This is Old Girls Go Off the Rails by Maddie Please. It releases the 22nd of May and is 320 pages. When Lizzie Stevens was 18, life took a wrong turn. While her best friends Harry and Anna went interrailing across Europe, Lizzie stayed behind, shunted into a dusty bank job and a sensible life that never quite got back on track. Now 64, freshly divorced from terminally dull Freddie, and wondering how she ended up here, Lizzie is unexpectedly reunited with the friends who left her behind. This time, she's not missing the train. Their plan, a gloriously reckless rail adventure across Europe. The women are older, allegedly wiser, and considerably less flexible. Oh, isn't that the truth? But their bags are packed and they're ready to depart. Yet, once the train pulls out of Worcester, it's clear the journey won't be smooth. Old secrets derail fond memories. Harry and Anna barely tolerate each other. And Lizzie discovers the trip she idolized for decades wasn't quite first class. As they rattle from city to city, Paris to Venice, before embarking on a cruise along the Croatian coast, the old girls are fueled by laughter and questionable decisions. And Lizzie begins to realize it's never too late to change direction, and that the best adventures are the ones without a timetable. Okay, I'm intrigued. Two more left. This is The Boleyn Secret by Alison Weir. It releases the 26th of May and is 560 pages. And at 12 years old, Catherine Carey attends her aunt, Queen Anne Boleyn, to the scaffold. Horrified by what she witnesses, Catherine is convinced that King Henry VIII is a murderer and has sent an innocent woman to a terrible death. Although the Boleyn family, once so influential at court, has now fallen from favor, Catherine still manages to secure a coveted role as companion to the now motherless cousin, the young Lady Elizabeth. Bound by Boleyn blood, the two girls grow as close as sisters, though Catherine has trouble ignoring the sly looks thrown her way and the continual whispers behind her back. Only when her mother lies dying does Catherine learn the life-shattering truth the Boleyns have been hiding for years. It is a secret that follows Catherine throughout her life, as she flees religious persecution with her husband and lives abroad in fear, returning home only when Elizabeth becomes queen. But the bond between the Boleyn cousins will never be the same again. I'm very, very interested in this book. Okay. Oh, I was wrong. That was the last one for the month. So those are all the May books that caught my attention. Hopefully some of them have caught your attention. And let me know in the comments which one has your attention the most. And I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.